morning, Dr. Cox.
Good morning, Dr. K. How are you, sir? Good to see you this morning.
Elbow bump.
Thanks for coming to the middle school.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's our pleasure.
I look forward to seeing how Midway Middle School is implementing their Safe Start plan for August the 24th. So Dr. Cox, tell me a little bit about your cafeteria and how you're going to achieve physical distancing with the kids.
Well, there's a lot of things going on, of course, in the cafeteria because they'll all come in the morning, those that eat breakfast, and everybody will come through for lunch, whether they purchase from us or bring from home. And we're using the TE definition of as much distance as physically possible. So
I see that you have some dots out in each of these.
We have dots on the tables. Hopefully the students will leave the chairs where they are so they're across from each other and apart here, and then it's the opposite side on these other tables as well.
Good. Very good.
We have plans to feed at least 1,000 kids in 3 different lunches, although our numbers right now are hovering around, I think, 868 is what we're going to have under our roof starting on Monday. So we should have plenty of room, even more room than these dots indicate. So we've got dots on all the cafeteria tables here. We can seat about 30 kids on the stage if we need to. We can seat at least 75, if not more, in the red gym. Our PE classes will help put those tables up and chairs and before the lunches, and then our PE class that comes in will help take those down.
So you're utilizing a number of different spaces besides just the traditional cafeteria. Correct. It looks like you're utilizing your stage area as well as one of the gymnasiums.
Correct.
To physically distance more of your kids, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
there's also, you'll see some tables down there at the top of the courtyard along the glass as well. So.
Very good. No.
But we feel like all the breakfast and all the lunch are more of a grab and go. Our lunch director of Aramark, Colton, has told us that he's also bringing in some warmers or some kiosks that kids can pick up lunches in the red gym, or maybe down here they won't all have to swarm over to the lunch lines. We're going to seat our kids by class. We kind of laughed last year. We made national news with our No Child Sits Alone program. This year our slogan is No Child Sits Together. Everybody spread out. So everybody sits by themselves.
Well, at least you got 3.
But we do have a little bit of space in between.
Hello, Mrs. Harris, Assistant Principal here at Midway Middle School. Tell me a little bit about the morning in terms of breakfast procedures and how you all are thinking about physical distancing with the kids.
Yeah, sure. I would love to, Dr. K. So we are opening our doors at 7:30 in the morning.
Okay. And
from 7:30 to 7:45, as our students enter, and they're going to be entering from various entry points, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But as they come in, they can get breakfast, and breakfast is going to be a grab and go, so we don't have a lot of lines and a lot of kids standing around. We'll have staff on duty to help kids. They will be physically distanced in the cafeteria, like you saw a little while ago. And those not getting breakfast will be physically distanced in our bleachers. And we are creating dots that we can put to where they know where to go.
Okay, so tell me a little bit, though, about, just if you could, some of the multiple locations for drop-off and things like that in the morning.
Perfect. So we will have one located in the courtyard, and then there will be one at the end of the 7th grade hallway for 7th graders. There's going to be another one at the end of the 8th grade hallway for bus riders and any who get dropped off across. And then we will have 2 drop-offs in the back where our athletic locations are. So we'll have multiple ones just so that we don't have a lot of standing around.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. And then at 7:45, we will start releasing all kids to go to their first period class for 0 hour, and that will go 7:45 to 8:25, but they will not release to go to first period since they're already there. 8:25 will start actual first period.
So Ms. Harris, you mentioned, though, the possibility of 0 hour. So I understand, of course, the middle school starting a little bit later this year for all students, but what would occur during a 0 hour?
So 0 hour is really nice for all of our kiddos if they can come in and just have a quiet place during first period to get any homework done, study for a test coming up, all of those things, to just have that tutorial time. If teachers need to send something to the kiddos, they can send it digitally now, and they can work on it in that 0 hour.
So it's not required, but it's certainly a time for students to either catch up or, like you said, take care of some homework, get some one-on-one tutoring with teachers, things of that nature, right?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Very good, very good. Okay, Dr. Glazman, one of the things about, I'm sure questions about Midway Middle School is the number of students that are attending face-to-face, and then attending classes and changing classes. We have these great big hallways, but what are y'all's thoughts on how to keep as much physical distance with students during the changing of classes?
That's a great question. That's been one of our number one challenges here at our campus, is just in the past, all students released on the bell and flooded our hallways, but we can't do that this year. And so what we're doing is we are altering our bell schedule so that we dismiss and staggered start. So each hallway will have about a 30-second start before the next one comes. So we'll start with our 100 hallway and 700 hallways, and then 30 seconds later 200 and then 600. So the farthest hallways on our campus, and then working our way to the middle. And they'll have about 30 seconds in between. We're requiring all students to walk on the right side of the hallway, and then we'll have our teachers spread throughout the hallway as well, making sure to monitor physical distance of students.
Okay, so they kind of like in terms of driving on the road, students will walk on the right-hand side.
Absolutely.
And to keep some of that physical distancing. And then of course with the delay times, staggering times, that should minimize the number of students all congregating all at once.
And then the other thing too, you'll notice these little colored dots that we have in the hallway, just the tiles, but they're actually 6 feet apart. So they give you a visual of how far 6 feet looks as
very
well.
good.
So that helps us with our students as well as monitoring physical distancing.
Excellent. Thank you.
So Dr. Zanis, one of our challenges in the classroom was we still want to be able to have our students collaborate. Middle school is based on collaboration. Our teachers collaborate at a very high level. We need our students to do exactly the same. But with physical distancing, with the challenges that we're facing right now, we had to search high and low to find a model. I follow lots of different principals across the country on social media. This is one of the models that I saw that was out there, where the desks are facing each other in pods of 4, and but they're physically distanced enough so when allowable, students can still talk across to each other. Where they'll have their devices, of course, on everyone will have their iPad on their desk, but they'll still be able to group talk and group think. And that's just such an integral part of what we try to do at the middle school as far as across the curriculum. A couple of things that we're also trying to do is we've gone through all of our sections now that our numbers are in, and all of our face-to-face students, our counselors have been busy trying to balance those sections out so that we don't have any more than 20 kids in a classroom. So what you see here are 5 groups of 4, 5 different pods of 4 desks each. And then, of course, we've got a couple extra because we expect that there'll be some changes. A couple more kids may come in, and we may slide them in somewhere. But
well, that's why certainly our pre-registration form, or the choice form, was so critical, because we had further planning that has to occur, as you said, to balance classes, to look at the flow of the school, to try to keep, as you mentioned, 20 or less in each of the classrooms, so that you could do that in these different pods, as you have demonstrated, so that students could still have the interaction and still have enough physical distancing as possible. Well, hello, Mrs. Alexander.
Hello, Dr. K.
Thank you for having me in
You're
a
very welcome.
science classroom.
Yes, sir.
Here at the middle school. So tell me a little bit, what are you and your team thinking about physical distancing here in science?
Well, we're very fortunate in 7th grade science in that we have very large classrooms. So that helped a great deal, and we have 10 tables. And our counselors were really helpful and adamant on trying to keep our face-to-face down to 20. And so we're looking at 2 students per table, and we've alternated each so that they're not directly across from each other. The tables are nice and big as well.
Kind of a diagonal.
Yes,
Right.
and they're at diagonal, and we're hoping with that.
What about assigned seats?
Yes, sir. Assigned seats. We are already working on
Awesome.
on having
All
a
right.
little form.
Good.
Sean's looks much better than mine. We have our assigned seats. We're ready. None of us have more than 20. 20 is my biggest class, and I think 19, 18 for the other ones. And then we've got some very small ones where we may be able to have 1 student at a desk sometimes. So.
Well, hello, Mrs. Benton.
Good
Welcome
morning.
back. Tell me, though, as a choir director, in light of the pandemic and COVID-19, how are you going to design and organize your choir classes? Because we know we have award-winning choirs, and we're excited for these kids to come back. But I noticed there's a lot more space. Normally, I see risers. So tell me, what are you going to be doing differently?
So physically and in every way, choir is going to look completely different.
Okay.
It's not going to be the same, yet it will still thrive. We're actually going to be getting a lot of opportunities to do things that we weren't able to do during a normal choir year because we're so performance-based. So we're gonna have other options to do. First and foremost, though, with our kiddos, and I think every teacher's doing this, is we're focusing on SEL, the social and emotional learning, which ties right into music, because that's what music is about with our
Awesome.
kiddos,
Great.
that they need
Yes.
that. So we're gonna be tying that in every day with a like a 5-minute,
Warm up.
3 to 4 or
short
5-minute
lesson.
activity on SEL.
Great,
That's the
great.
first thing we're going to do. And then we're going to be doing some singing, but it's going to be limited singing, and it's going to be different singing. It's going to be humming, hearing, which we call audiation. If we are singing, the kids are very spaced apart in here. It's going to be at least 5 to 6 feet apart.
Will
We
it
hope to
still wear
get
these up?
35 with the mask
Okay.
on. 35 so kiddos
Mhm.
facing one direction, not on levels, not staggered, 5 feet apart this way as well as this way, and they would be humming or singing very softly.
But with the mask on.
With
right?
mask on,
that's what I've read
absolutely.
is very critical.
Yes, which will be different. So we'll
But your
have to
voice
see
sounds
that.
great, so through the
Uh-huh.
mask, I bet you're still gonna hear
I
beautiful
hope so.
voices.
Yes, hope so. We also have other spaces to utilize for if we have a larger class,
Okay.
which will be the Performing Arts Center, hopefully. We're very blessed to have that.
So you're utilizing whatever space
Yes,
is
sir.
available in order to get that physical distancing
Yes.
needed. So, well, thank you. Appreciate your planning and all your effort.